Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to all joining us from across the world. As I've mentioned, it's impressive to see the different hellos that are coming in from the chat box. Allow me to introduce myself again. My name is Alice Yu. I'm the head of advocacy and outreach at the International Road Federation. And it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the opening session of the RF 2025 annual conference. Thank you for being with us as we begin this 3 days of our journey together. And so now it is my honor to invite the president of RF, Mr. Dimitris Mendelozis, to welcome us. Dimitris, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alice. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Across the World. It's a pleasure to meet and open this year IRF annual conference. As someone who has been part of this community for many decades, I have seen IRF evolve from a strong institution into a truly global ecosystem of industry leaders, policymakers, researchers, and partners. What has stayed constant throughout these years is our shared belief that roads are more than infrastructure. They are pathways that connect people, economies, and opportunities. In an ever-evolving landscape, collaboration is the strongest infrastructure we can build. And this conference is exactly that, a space where perspectives from across regions and disciplines come together. Over the next few days, we will hear from actors around the world on how these roads will steward today and meeting the demands of the present and aspirations of tomorrow. I am proud that IRF continues to be a platform that brings the global community together to listen, to share, and to shape the future of our sector. I want to personally thank you for being here and thank you for contributing to these dialogues and perspectives. With that, it's my pleasure to hand over to our Director General, Gonzalo Alcaraz. Thank you.
Thank you, Dimitris. A warm welcome to all of you joining us from different parts of the world. Before we begin, I want to express our sincere appreciation to the partners who made this gathering possible. Umovity, our gold sponsor, and Aegis and Salfo, our bronze sponsors. Thank you for your trust and for your continued support to the IRF. Your collaboration power our ability to bring this global network together. This year, our conference theme, Reimagining Roads for Inclusive, Safe, Green, and Efficient Mobility, could not be more timely. We meet at a moment where the global transport community is preparing for a major milestone, the launch of the UN Decade of Sustainable Transport on December 10, just days from now. As we open this conference, we are stepping into a moment where expectations on the road sector are rapidly evolving and where our collaborative action will shape the decade ahead. This is why we speak of reimagining, because roads are not static structures. They are systems that must adapt to social needs, environmental readiness, and technological change. As IRF, we are committed to helping our global community navigate this transition. Over the next 3 days, our sessions will explore how reimagining roads look like in practice. We begin with equitable access, looking at how roads can close gaps in mobility and ensure that all people can connect safely and affordably to essential services. We then look at safer and healthier roads and how better design and management can save lives and reduce harmful emissions. Our sessions on resilience brings together infrastructure, operations, financing, and climate preparedness, recognizing that truly resilient roads must withstand shocks and maintain connectivity under changing conditions. We also explore efficient roads for smarter cities, how to manage congestion and integrate public transport and use. We then look ahead also to digital and automated mobility, discussing how technologies and innovation can advance safety, efficiency, and operations. Our session as well on delivery mechanisms explores how sustainability can be included across the entire road value chain, from planning to procurement to construction, maintenance, materials, and circular practices. And don't forget that youth matters so much also to our community. The Young Professional Summit features aspirations of emerging leaders from our sector. I really hope that you will find these sessions reflect the diversity and potential of our ecosystem. But more importantly, I hope we will see that reimagining roads is not a single task. is a collective effort shaped by many voices and many disciplines. I want to thank you in advance for tuning in for the rest of our time together, and thank you all, our speakers, moderators, and partners for contributing your insights. I look forward to an inspiring and productive 3 days. Back to you, Alice.
Thank you very much, Gonzalo. And your reflections, I think, together with Dimitri's, remind us really what the next decade is such a defining moment for our sector. And I think that's exactly why we begin this conference with this conversation around leaders who are shaping how roads will evolve in the next 10 years. And I'm very excited because I get to moderate this really exciting panel, and we're bringing together 3 voices whose institutions are steering the road sector through some of the most important transitions, and they each represent a critical lever for the decade ahead. So from public sector leadership to development finance to technology and innovation that shapes the road ecosystem. And that is why we're asking them to open this conversation, because I believe that the future of roads will not be defined by any single actor, but by the interplay between governance, finance, and technological change. So I'm very honored to introduce our panelists today. We have Mr. Mong Abelbake, who is the Chief Technology Officer from Pneumopathy. We also have Mr. Nicolas Pelletier-Tiberge, who is the Global Director for Transport from the World Bank. And we have Ms. Emanuela Stocki, President of PIARC, the World Road Association. So thank you very much for joining me today, and I would like to start our panel discussion. So to start, let's begin with the perspective of national road administrations and governance, because these are the ones who shape the policy and standards that influence millions of kilometers of road worldwide. So I'd like to first go to you, Emanuela. From PIARC's global perspective, what are the most significant shifts that you see how governments are redefining the role of roads within this wider sustainable road agenda that we're discussing right now?
Thank you so much, Alice, for this introduction. Thanks, everybody, for inviting PIARC and inviting me in this meeting. I'm very grateful to President Dimitrios Mandalosis and General Director Gonzalo Alcaraz, to you, Alice, and to all this global community. It was really great to see all the comments from the chat from several parts of the globe. And yes, you said correctly, the change of mindset, what can do an international, global organizations like PIARC. Well, PIARC insists and highlights with its members the great value of the international collaboration. What we can do to advise, to give guidelines to our road administrations represented in PIARC with 128 countries is to exchange, the best practices, the knowledge, the ideas among the several committees, especially on sustainability. I just brought a few slides, mainly for the records and the proceedings, just to, to set the stage on PIARC. Yes, PIARC was founded in 1909 to represent 128 member governments all around the world, and works specifically with technical committees of experts. So far, we have 1,900 experts from more than 80 countries among the membership. And what we do is to try really to highlight the main concerns, the main key issues at political level, at technical level as well, about the road transportation, with the focus on sustainability. What it is new, and we try to highlight more now in this cycle, in this working cycle of PIARC with the strategic plan, is to highlight the role of the decarbonization in sustainability. And we exactly added in the strategic plan of this cycle also strategic coordinator on decarbonization. So this is why, as I was saying in the beginning, we try to give guidelines, to give answers, to give ideas to our governments and our members all around the world. And of course, we put in common all the work performed by our technical committees. You can maybe go on with the slides, and we see the work of the technical committees to highlight the importance, especially of sustainability, not only as a concept linked only to the environment, but to sustainability as a sort of holistic approach to road transportation. Sustainability in the several aspects related, of course, to environment and mitigation, climate resilience, to road safety, to corporate governance, also to the societal issues that are affecting our road transportation. This is the work performed all along the 4 years cycles of the working cycle of PIARC, which is translated into technical reports, into events, into conferences. And of course, all the key highlights that are taken after all these analyses together among the technical committees are also put in common with other similar international organizations. We have a cooperation with IRF, as you know, and we have also sort of advisory council of the International Association to exchange views and knowledge about the main beliefs and the main, findings that we extract from the work of the technical committees. In this way, as PIARC, we try at least to give a sort of storytelling, a sort of reflection of answers to our government administration to put in place at national level policies that are, developed under a sustainability point of view. And of course, we welcome as International Association this declaration of the United Nations to launch the decade of sustainable mobility, for which, of course, PIARC is very supportive. So just to give you an overview of PIARC objectives and beliefs.
Thank you very much, Emanuela. I mean, it's impressive to hear about the fact that we do need a holistic approach. I think that is the key message here, is that we can't look at sustainability in a very siloed manner. And I think that is the opportunity that UN Decade is presenting, isn't it? Is that holistic approach, is the encouragement of working in an interdisciplinary manner, bringing in expertise and technical exchanges with innovation, with policy. These kind of interplaying, dimensions that we're seeing is going to emerge more and more with the decade ahead. So thank you very much for sharing your experiences on that. So now let's come to Nicola, looking at the banks. So Nicola, as we enter the UN Decade of Sustainable Transport, how is the World Bank rethinking the role of roads within this very broad transport vision that the UN Decade is presenting? And actually, very specifically, I do want to ask, how can the road investments evolve to become the enabler of sustainable mobility, which is complementing rather than competing with investments for public transport, for walking and cycling? It's a bit of a tricky question, but I would love to hear your thoughts about that.
Not at all tricky. And thank you, Alice, and many thanks to the IRF for bringing us together to discuss roads. And I'm so glad to join so many colleagues and partners with whom we've been working on this agenda and how to maximize the benefit of roads. And let me start by saying that for an institution like the World Bank, and I think what I'm going to say is are some trends that are observed by many other development partners who are financing road programs in the developing world. But roads are still a very, very important element of the development agenda. At the World Bank, it represents about half of our total financing in the transport sector. In all the transport modes. This is a proportion that has remained stable over the years. I mean, we see a lot of demand in all the transport modes. Actually, last year was the biggest year of the 4 decades in terms of volume of lending that we've been financing in the transport sector. And I think this is a good illustration of how many pending connectivity challenges, including on road transportation, that are faced by many nations around the world. In fact, we know that 1.1 billion people in the world don't have access to a simple all-weather roads, and this has tremendous implications for their ability to feed themselves, to access economic opportunities, to access social services. I think there is ample evidence from many countries that road connectivity is directly related to a very important development issues such as food security or the proper functioning of global supply chains. So at the World Bank, each time we finance a road, we try to have that holistic perspective on how this program can contribute to broader development outcomes. We try to make sure that those investments are sustainable. We try to make sure that they do not compete with other transport modes. And that starts at the planning stage, because this is before you even start financing a road. You need to look at all the alternative and how which road, which part of a road network can bring the most development benefits. Now, and this is why we've developed some modeling instruments. One of them is called FlowMax. It's a logistic model that has been calibrated for specific crops like wheat, like corn, like cassava, which are very important to feed people in Africa. And so through this type of model, we are able to help countries identify those road investments that can bring the best benefits to help resolve a very important development issue, which is food security. We also try to make sure that the roads are sustainable and are resilient to natural disasters and other climate-related events. In fact, in a continent like Africa, this is becoming a major challenge because road infrastructure are particularly vulnerable to climate events. And we estimate that the cost of road maintenance is going to triple in the coming decade as a result of this increased intensity and frequency of climate events. So road maintenance is one of the ways that can protect the roads. And each time we finance a road investment, we try to insist on putting in place the institutional, the financing, and the technical arrangement that can make sure that those roads are well maintained. We also try to make sure that our road investments are gender informed, that we try to understand what are because women and men have different mobility needs. Now, sometimes women will use more pedestrian path rather than motorized roads. And so in some programs like Peru, we've been given a special emphasis on those non-motorized track, and this has produced tremendous development benefits to reduce rural poverty. And finally, I want to highlight also the contribution that road investments can make on the jobs agenda, how they can create jobs, not only direct jobs during the construction or the operation and the maintenance of those road investments, but also because roads are an enabler of labor markets. And we've tried to do some research to estimate what are those indirect job benefits of road investments. And looking at our current road portfolio at the World Bank, we estimate that there are at least 6 million indirect jobs that have been created by those road investments. So jobs, roads can contribute in many ways, directly, indirectly, and this is why we need to continue investing in those.
Wow, thank you very much, Nicolas. I'm hearing improved access. I'm hearing food security, resilience, gender-informed, inclusive mobility, jobs and economic growth on an individual and a on a societal level. I mean, it's very clear that roads are the arteries of mobility, and that we need to look at roads in its whole life cycle, in order to really understand its full benefits, right, to the societies and the communities that we're building these roads in. So I appreciate your sharing. And so now, having heard from you, I also would like to now go to Mons, who represents the technologies and the innovation side of things. And it's always so exciting to see to hear the news and what's the latest, coming up from this side of the community. So Mons, what technologies do you see as the most transformative for advancing sustainable roads, especially in the developing regions where resources and budgets for road developments are often quite constrained?
Thank you very much, Alison. Let me start by saying thank you very much for organizing this event, and the inclusivity of having it all online, I think, is amazing, right? Seeing participation from across the globe is fantastic, and I want to echo that appreciation from the two other panelists. I think from the way that I see it, we're entering a truly transformative decade, right? For road infrastructure, it's one that is shaped by rapid advancements in data, connectivity, the ubiquitous artificial intelligence, right? Across the mobility sector, we see AI-driven and data-based solutions becoming more and more accessible than ever. These offer powerful tools to improve efficiency, safety, and sustainability, and actually in particular in the regions where budgets and resources are limited. Let me start by talking a little bit about planning, right? Artificial intelligence and smart digital tools are accelerating the processes that previously took months and months and are making them much more scalable and affordable. If you take something like transport modeling, for instance, modeling and simulation, that's essential for evidence-based decision-making. Where to spend the money matters, right? But these types of tools allow planners to test different options, different scenarios, identifying the most effective way of intervening or investing. That could be optimizing an intersection, deciding where to place the road, or adjusting signal timing in a congested area in a city. That could be instead of expanding the road capacity, or perhaps investing in infrastructure that could potentially sit vacant or underused, right? Traditionally, developing a transport model could take months and require significant expertise. That's why we, for instance, have developed in PTV Model to Go, which is an automated modeling technology that uses machine learning and smart data integration, really generating a traffic model for any city worldwide within a week. This makes model-based planning viable even for smaller projects or developing regions. An example of that is the Move Yaoundé project in Cameroon, implemented with the GIZ and the Frankfurt University of Applied Sciences. The city's topography made a full bus rapid transit coverage impossible. But using Model to Go, planners optimized feeder routes that cut travel times, improved access to the BRT, and extended connectivity to remote areas, including the airport. This is a really strong example of how digital tools can make mobility much more inclusive, efficient, and sustainable, even in resource-constrained environments. On the more operational side, on the day-to-day, adaptive and proactive signal controls systems are amongst the most transformative technologies. They really improve both flow and safety, and I think safety is a key element here. We talked previously about pedestrians, right? These systems use AI, algorithm sensors to forecast traffic conditions, adjust signal timings accordingly, reducing delays, emission, and fuel use by up to 30%, and improving safety without building new infrastructure or adding new stuff. Meanwhile, we are seeing cloud-based ATMS platforms that are now supported by reliable wireless technology, eliminating the need for expensive on-premise infrastructure. These enable centralized control, analytics, remote diagnostics, and can be deployed rapidly and cost efficiently, even where physical networks are limited. For the Global South and developing regions, this means faster deployment, lower maintenance costs, and scalable integration with connected and AI-powered mobility applications. And finally, I think it's important, sustainability must be built into every layer of our road infrastructure. Solar-powered controllers, battery backups ensure operation even in remote areas, reducing grid dependency and strengthening climate resilience. And data-driven asset management helps authorities extend asset life and anticipate maintenance needs essential where the resources are tight. I think these innovations together allows us to move from an expansion mindset to an optimization mindset, and allows us to use intelligence and not asphalt to deliver better, safer, and more sustainable mobility.
Well, Mogens, that's a very powerful message that you wrap up with. I don't have anything to add to that powerful statement. And I mean, I just wanted to say that yes, indeed, we could harness technology to leapfrog into the next phase. I think that right now is the moment. So I'm really glad to hear from you all these great insights. Unfortunately, because of time, let me just hear one round from you all with this question, because we do, as you can see from the chat box, there are all these colleagues from the road sector joining from all different parts of the world. We're gathering a really impressive global community here. So I would like to ask each one of you to maybe just share a sentence or two, a message that you would like to share with road agencies, engineers, practitioners, just colleagues from the road sector. What do you think they need to take into account with every kilometer of road that they, design, manage, operate, over the next decade? What do you want to say to them? If you want to just share one message to them, what would you share with them? Just 1 to 2 sentences, if you may. Should we start with the lady, Emanuela?
Thank you, Alice. Well, several things, but just to be quick, I think that everybody in this global transportation community should promote the fact that transport plays a key role in society globally, everywhere. So this has to be recognized, funded, and also financed at national level and at international level. Dimitros Mandalosis, President Mandalosis, said that roads are more than infrastructure. Also, Nicolas from the World Bank was saying, that transport is helping countries in growing in mobility. So I think that all of us, operators, key stakeholders in the transportation, should always have in mind that the playing role, the key role in transforming the society. And of course, from my point of view, from PR point of view, roads are and always represent at least 80% of the all inland transport, but we are also ready to cooperate with other transport modes. So I was really in favor of what Nicolas was saying about this, not competition, but collaboration about transport mode to provide mobility to users, to citizens, to communities, to enterprises all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Emanuela. Nicola?
Yes, my message would be that it's an exciting moment to be working in the road sector because there are a lot of innovation happening. We just heard how AI will also transform some of the road programs that we are implementing. But I think we need even more innovations. We need innovations to make sure that those roads are not only well designed, but they contribute to a more resilient mobility. We need innovations in the financing and the funding of road programs. So, because public resources are limited, and so there are all those schemes about road asset recycling, about performance-based maintenance contract that can generate some short-term private capital mobilization, road maintenance fund, all the institutional setting around roads. I mean, we need more of those so that we can maximize opportunities to enhance connectivity for people.
Thank you very much. Now, Mogens, you're the last.
Last but not least, no. So,
yes.
I think my closing statement around using intelligence and not only asphalt to deliver better, safer, and more sustainable mobility is actually key. The tools that are available, that are emerging, and that will come during the next decade allows us really to increase the level of predictiveness and the technology to accelerate our understanding of what makes a better decision faster. And so really, really emphasizing that technology can accelerate and improve the decision making that we make, whether it's financial, whether it is equitable, whether it's sustainability, with regards to all aspects of mobility. So I think the future is brighter in that aspect.
Like, I genuinely hope this is a 3-hour session, like, because I feel like each of the things that you said could warrant like at least a half an hour follow up. But unfortunately, we're in a packed session. But most of the all of the topics actually that you have raised in your responses will be dissected in very much detail over the next 3 days. So I invite all of our panelists to be in our sessions, and at the same time, I know our audience will be in those sessions. I've seen some questions coming in from the chat box. Unfortunately, we don't have time to address them. Feel free to continue some of the chatting, perhaps in the chat box, panelists, perhaps. But I really appreciate your insights. I think that gives us a lot of food for thought with the decade being launched in just a week. So I appreciate your insights. I really hope that we will continue to share this commitment that we have in terms of advancing sustainable roads. So again, thank you very much for your sharing today. But now, to deepen this framing that you have just shared, it is also my honor to welcome somebody who has played a very central role in supporting the development of the UN decade. And so it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Dimitri Mariazin. He is the Deputy Executive Secretary to the UN Economic Commission for Europe, UNECE. Dimitri, I know you're connecting from, I don't know where you are, but I think you're from the airport or something. You just got off the plane. I really appreciate you being here with us. So the floor is yours to share some thoughts from you regarding the decade. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, very well.
Excellent. Yes, I apologize. I'm in transit, but we're all moving. Transport is there to move us around. And I'd like to to thank IRF for inviting UNECE and myself to say a few words at the outset of this annual conference on reimagining roads. Distinguished colleagues, it's a great honor for me to join you, and we need to reimagine the roads, not as static infrastructure, but as a dynamic enabler of sustainable development. We know that roads are a backbone of mobility. We know that they're also a lever for transformation, but they represent a dual reality. They're both a lifeline and a source of risk. 80% of inland freight and passenger movement, at least in UNECE region, which is a very big region stretching from Canada to Tajikistan, is road traffic. And of course, this is trade, this is connectivity, this is social inclusion. But on the other hand, roads are accountable for over 70% of transport-related CO2 emissions. And we know that globally 1.1 million people tragically die on the road every year, and many millions are injured. The new UN Decade for Sustainable Transport, which we will launch in New York next week, with some of the colleagues here in the meeting, is our collective commitment to address this dual reality and to change the trajectory from more risk to more opportunity. That will be difficult. It will mean embedding sustainability, resilience, and safety in every kilometer of roads we build or maintain. What else does it mean? It means we cannot forget the social dimension. It's not just about climate. When we speak about sustainability, we need to make sure that decent and sustainable jobs are generated and that roads are truly connecting economies and creating corridors of growth and development. We need to have clarity on the future of financing for infrastructure, and it was good to hear about this from the World Bank and other colleagues. And this is financing that aligns with sustainability perspective. Not so easy these days. Will require additional effort from all of us. We need to have a very strong public and private interface. Solutions for safer and greener roads will not be made in the ivory tower of the UN or international organizations or in ministers' offices only. They will require boardrooms aligning investment strategies in a certain way. They will require a wide range of private players at the table as we design a complex global solution. This is not business as usual, and we'll need a very different type of multilateralism if this decade is to succeed. Finally, we will need a new generation of policies and regulations that are fit for the future. That means we need much more foresight and anticipatory governance in the road community, in the broader transport community. There is a path dependency in transport, among transport people. We're used to doing things in a certain way. Well, they will have to change. With the onset of climate change, with a completely new business model that AI and other breakthrough digital technologies bring, there will have to be a new wave of regulations that respond and anticipate, very important, anticipate these changes. So at UNECE, we work every day, in fact, to make this vision of more sustainable, resilient, and safe roads a reality. As you know, we are hosting the UN Inland Transport Committee, which is the main UN platform for inland transport when it comes to intergovernmental regulatory functions, similar to ICAO and IMO for aviation and maritime. And of course, because of that, but also because we're one of the 5 regional commissions, we have been together with UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs, playing a key role in designing this decade. Now, you will ask, what is UNECE doing specifically? What is it bringing to the table? And I'll briefly outline it in 3 main categories: safety, decarbonization, and resilience. Road safety is not just a moral imperative. It's actually increasingly important for sustainability of societies and economies, given that young people are disproportionately affected by road accidents. UNECE has a number of things it does on road safety. One is the Global Forum on Road Traffic Safety. This is the place where all the road safety conventions were actually made, some of them dating back to the 40s and the 50s. Well, we work to maintain them, to update them constantly, and including the Vienna Convention on Road Traffic, which was just updated to reflect some new developments, including on automation. Secondly, promoting the safe systems approach. We work a lot on vehicles, and as you know, most of the European, at least, but increasingly global vehicle regulations are made at UNECE, at our World Forum for Harmonization of Vehicle Regulations. And things like advanced braking systems, emergency lane keeping systems, and electronic stability controls, these are all things that are now harmonized across the world, so that the car manufacturers know what they're producing when they're producing an advanced braking system. And finally, we do a lot to collect data on road safety through a biannual road safety collection effort. And of course, we host the Office of the Special Envoy for Road Safety, whose advocacy globally is quite unique, and the UN Road Safety Fund, which is the UN's only dedicated funding mechanism to support safer roads worldwide. On decarbonization, I already mentioned the figures for our region. Globally, 69% of energy-related CO2 emissions are road transport, and it's also one of the fastest growing among all global energy using sectors. So roads will be at the center of the climate challenge as we strive to implement the Paris Agreement, but we believe they can be part of the solution as well. So to support this, the Inland Transport Committee of the UN adopted its pivotal decarbonization strategy in 2024, which is based on a very simple but very important conceptual framework: avoid, shift, improve. And I won't go into the details of that. You're all aware of this. It goes from very specific regulations on how you smartly adopt low and zero carbon technologies, such as electric vehicles, not treating EVs as panacea, but understanding the complexity of this, including talking about the life cycle assessment of different technologies, including vehicle technologies. This, in fact, is one of the most important things that is not talked about enough. We are developing at UNICE the first globally harmonized methodology to calculate the carbon footprint of road vehicles from cradle to grave. What is green in the press may not be green in reality if you do a life cycle assessment. I'm simplifying it, but this is the gist of it. And very importantly, some major players such as Brazil, the European Union, and others are considering life cycle approaches to their national and regional policies, including on the fiscal front, where we saw fiscal policies on EV subsidies in France and the UK already reference life cycle assessment of vehicles. This is an important shift. This is going beyond ticking the box on climate. This is actually looking at the carbon footprint. And of course, we expect to make more progress on this in our work in the course of 26. We'll keep you updated on this. Final point on decarbonization, it is not just about vehicles. We need smart infrastructure. We need optimized infrastructure. We need many more multimodal connections, linking roads with rail and inland waterways. And we, of course, need a modal shift in cities as a means to achieve both safety and climate goals. Finally, resilience. It is our strong view that no roads should be built without resilience in mind. Floods, heat waves, and landslides disrupt mobility and economies and threaten safety. We're talking about a multi-billion dollar hazard every year, and hence resilience is not optional. It should be the foundation of resilient transport. And to this extent, we've been working on what we call a stress test framework for evaluating the resilience of transport systems. We have launched together with the Islamic Development Bank, the International Transport Infrastructure Observatory, which overlays transport network information with climate hazard data and is now covering Central Asia, North America, and Middle East, as well as Europe, but we'll go to other regions of the world soon. And finally, we're working on public-private partnership standards that embed resilience in infrastructure investments, including those realized through concessions, road concessions. So this is a quick snapshot of what we believe is important: safety, decarbonization, resilience, what we work on concretely with many of you, and what will be key pillars of the newly launched decade for sustainable transport, where the UN expects the broad range of stakeholders to be with us to make transport much more sustainable. In this sense, I'm very glad that I have a chance to speak to you just a week before we launch the decade officially. I'd like to invite you all to follow the launch of the decade next week on the 10th of December, 10 a.m. New York time. I hope that the IRF and the bigger ecosystem of IRF will be a critical player in this sense. And I look forward to collaborating with the organizations present in this call and all of the experts and all of those who are interested in this topic, so that we could address the complicated trade-offs, the potential opportunities to make transport smart, sustainable, resilient, and inclusive. Thank you very much. And back to you, Alice.
Thank you very much, Dimitri. And thank you very much for the powerful call to action. I really appreciate it. And this is exactly what we need to hear as a wrap up. I wanted to quickly also let you and also in the audience know that indeed we are planning on to do something as a community in anticipation of next week's official launch of the UN Decade. IRF and we have a coalition of partners. We will be announcing a voluntary commitment designed to turn the decade's global vision into concrete thematic roadmaps, implementation roadmaps, and capacity building for the road sector. So we really look forward to sharing the full announcement with you all on the 10th. And thank you very much again, Dimitri, for being here with us and to give this really excellent summary of what we have just discussed. So now we have spoken a lot about collective action on a sectoral level, which is extremely important. But now we also would like to turn to a moment that we celebrate every year. It's a recognition of an individual whose leadership have made a lasting impact on the road sector. So now I would like to invite Gonzalo to introduce the IRF Personality of the Year.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Alice. Indeed, this is my great pleasure to introduce IRF Personality of the Year Award. This is something that we have been doing from 1951 and somehow honors the eminent professionals whose leadership and commitment has shaped safer, more sustainable transport networks around the world. And over the years has celebrated a lot of individuals whose work has left an impacting that last on mobility, ensuring that our transport systems are better, safer, and more inclusive. So please join me in watching a very short video we have done announcing this year's recipient. So a big congratulations to George on receiving this Personality of the Year award from the IRF, a truly well-deserved recognition. And it's this honor somehow celebrates his extraordinary 30 marathons campaign, where George completed 30 marathons in 30 months, each under 4 hours, to promote 30 kilometers per hour speed limits in cities worldwide. And this effort has captured global attention and directly influenced Greeks' adoption on new traffic road code, maintaining 30 kilometers per hour limits in most urban streets, effective from January 1st, 2026, making actually Greece the second European country after Spain to do so. George, your work is a powerful example on how individual commitment can inspire policy change and advance safer and more inclusive urban mobility. And we are honored to have you here. And perhaps you can share as well with the audience some few words about how this idea was born and what motivates you to take on such an incredible challenge. So, George, again, congratulations, and the floor is yours for some words.
Thank you, Gonzalo. Thank you, IRF. This is a very great honor to receive this prestigious award for our efforts to save lives with scientific evidence and persistent campaigns that we combined. And especially receiving this award from IRF is very, very important because IRF is the global benchmark and front-runner organization in promoting sustainable, resilient, and safe roads. So this is very important. And I'm happy to promote actively the citywide 30 kilometers per hour speed limits as the catalyzer for a new safe mobility culture. It's not only a road safety measure. And especially, we save lives of those outside the cars, the pedestrians, the cyclists, the motorcyclists. And this account for 70% of our fatalities in our cities. So I can tell you that in my long career in road safety science, this is the first time that we witness such a single road safety measure bringing such significant benefits at such low cost and with such a small change in our habits. So it is very, very important, and we have already achieved the 30 kilometer speed limits in several cities in Europe and in some countries, including, and I'm very happy for this, my home country, Greece. But there are still much more cities across Europe and all over the world where we can further promote with persistence and scientific evidence the 30 kilometers per hour. So we will continue very actively the marathon of promoting safer speeds everywhere and for all. And I can tell you, combining sports with this safety campaign brought a lot of people in the stream of supporting safer speeds. And just to highlight that IRF and NTUA, we have a long-standing strong partnership. We share the same values. We advocate for transportation solutions providing sustainable mobility for all. So we enjoy so much collaborating with IRF and all IRF partners. And we will very happily continue exchanging knowledge, practice, and join forces for safer roads everywhere and for all. So this award makes me more stronger to continue promoting the 30 kilometers and safer speeds. Thank you very much.
Thank you, George.
I have stickers if you want.
Perfect.
Congratulations, Professor Yanis. I mean, I hope you're hearing all of the nice greetings and thank yous also in the chat box as well from all over the world. So as we look ahead to the decade, another very important part that we would like to wrap up today's session with is evidence and data. It is an essential foundation for better decision making. So at IRF, one of our longest standing contributions to the global community is our World Road Statistics. But now actually I would like to invite Julia Fung. She is our head of statistics and senior program manager from IRF. And she will let you know what the 2025 edition of the WRS is offering this year. Julia.
Thank you very much, Alice, and it's great to be with all of you today. I'm delighted to take you through a brief overview of the IRF World Road Statistics and highlights from our most recent edition. So very briefly, the IRF World Road Statistics, as Alice mentioned, is one of the longest standing and most comprehensive global transport datasets. We've been publishing it every year since 1964, which means that the newly released 2025 edition is in fact our 62nd edition. And the WRS is truly global in scope. We cover more than 200 countries and territories with over 200 indicators organized across 11 themes. And all of this data is collected directly from primary national sources, such as ministries of transport, national road authorities, or national statistical offices. And we use a standardized set of definitions drawn from the Glossary for Transport Statistics. And this alignment of definitions is one of the reasons why our data is so widely used by governments, development banks, private companies, academia, NGOs, and international organizations. And I would also like to acknowledge our main supporters, the Total Energies Foundation and the Michelin Corporate Foundation, whose long-standing and generous support makes this work possible. And their commitment has enabled us to open up the data, which is now freely accessible to all since a few years. If we move to the next slide, you see the kind of themes that we cover in our data. We offer or try to offer a very holistic view of mobility infrastructure and transport systems worldwide. And for each of these themes, we include detailed policy relevant metrics. So for example, for road network, we would have the breakdown by type of road or road network density. For road crash fatalities, which is a core theme, we look at the number of fatalities by gender or also by rates of fatalities or injury accidents per population or kilometer traveled. For road expenditure, we would look at the type of spending amongst many other indicators. If we move to the next slide, since we made our data openly accessible in recent years, we've been able to collaborate on more data initiatives in the transport sector than ever before. On the slide here, you see some of our key partners from recent days. So for example, we are delighted to contribute data and expertise to the WHO's Global Status Report on Road Safety, to the World Bank's Sustainable Mobility for All work, and to several regional and thematic initiatives such as the Asian Development Bank's Asian Transport Outlook. And these collaborations really help promote greater consistency in terminology, definitions, and data standards across the global transport statistics community. If we move to the next slide, our online data warehouse, which anyone can register for in the span of a minute, makes global transport data easy to explore. We offer fast country and time series comparisons, clear visualizations, and quick insight extractions. We try to remove the traditional barriers by accessing comparable data to enable faster, more efficient analysis and evidence-based decision-making. We move to the next slide. In addition to the graphs that you saw on the previous slide, we also have dashboards. Here you see an example of a road safety dashboard that complements the platform, and we encourage all of you to take a look at the data on our platform. If we move to the next slide, I also wanted to mention a few key highlights of the 2025 edition. So we added over 8,000 new data points for the most recent 6 years of data, 2018 to 2023. And we also completed the largest historical update ever, where we added over 11,000 new data points. And we also refined over 3,400 historical entries where newer, better data became available. Moving to the next slide, to make the data even more accessible and policy relevant, we recently also created the WRS Road Data Snapshot series. And these short thematic briefs distill thousands of our data points into concise messages that decision makers can absorb quickly. They highlight global trends, disparities, and emerging patterns drawn directly from our data. What you see on this slide are the first 3 ones that have been published, and we encourage you to check them out. Like, for example, the first one focuses on the global infrastructure gap. The second one is about road network density and what exactly it means and what kind of insights we can derive from that. And the third one examines 6-year trends in European road infrastructure spending. And we invite all of you to take a look at these that are already published. And finally, if we move to the next slide, we will be expanding the Snapshot series with upcoming editions focusing on global road safety disparities and also on the dynamics of multimodal transport in Europe and North America. We encourage you to keep an eye out for all of these. And with that, I end my short introduction to the statistics and the 2025 edition. And thank you to all of you for being here. And I'll herewith hand over back to Alice again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julia. And that concludes our opening session. I wanted to thank one more time to all of our speakers, panelists, and to everyone that have joined us live today from all over the world. I hope we leave you at a cliffhanger because it's only the beginning of a conversation that will follow again over the next 3 days. So we really look forward to continuing these conversations and the questions that you might be bringing to some of these issues that you're hearing already from our discussions. So right now we'll be closing this opening session and just letting you know that you will be brought back to the lobby virtually on the Zoom meeting, and you will very soon find the join button for the next session, what will start at 3:15. So in 10 minutes, you will be able to start the next session. And the next session will be on equity. So it will be on inclusive and equitable access for roads. So we really extend the invitation for all of you to join. Please stay with us as we move into our next session. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.